he texted me and it was really cool. He goes, "Hey, Ope, I got a couple hours to kill. You want to go hang out at Vic Henley's bench and catch up?" I'm like, hell yeah. And a homeless guy comes around, and then he was trying to intimidate us. And I'm looking, I'm like, bro, I'm not scared of you. What else is going on? So honestly, I had a really good day yesterday. I got a text from my friend Stuntbrain, Michael Pelka. He's still doing radio, but he's literally a radio legend. He was huge in New York City radio. He worked for Scott Shannon and Z100. He had quite the track record. I met him because when K-Rock hired us after Howard Stern left, and we were doing radio for both satellite and regular radio, and we had to split our time. CBS Radio at the time, they wanted us to have a producer for just the regular radio / K-Rock side. Does this make sense? I hope so. Basically, we would start our show and we'd be on satellite and regular radio. And then around, I forget now, 9 o'clock, we left regular radio and continued on satellite. It was crazy. That deal was absolutely insane. And the two companies didn't want to work together. So we were the ones that suffered it. We had to actually move from one studio to the other in the middle of a radio show. And that's why we did the walkover and we broadcasted that. So they hired Michael Pelka to be the producer for the regular radio side. And sadly, like, my staff at the time gave him no respect whatsoever. It's just, I should have spoke up about that too, because Mike deserved more respect. But we became friends. And the last radio show I was doing at SiriusXM with Carl Ruiz and Vic Henley and Chris DiStefano, Stuntbrain came in a lot, and he was on it a lot. And he was really close with Carl and Vic as well. So long story short, he lives in Delaware. He doesn't come up here much. So Stuntbrain texts me. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming up for a memorial." I guess one of his friends from Z100, that his wife died of, I guess I could talk about without mentioning names. His wife died out of nowhere, had like a massive stroke. She was totally healthy, and it just happened. So he came up for this memorial. We went to a place called, they were having it at Prohibition. I walked him over there. But he texted me, and it was really cool. He goes, "Hey, Ope, I got a couple hours to kill. You want to go hang out at Vic Henley's bench and catch up?" I'm like, hell yeah. And I don't think I've seen him since COVID. We've kept in touch through the phone here and there. So I go, hell yeah, Mike. So I met him in the park. For those who don't know, coffee just spilled out of my mouth too. For those of you that don't know, Vic Henley's got a bench dedicated to him in Central Park. That's what you can hope for in life. You know, you live a really good life. The best you could possibly get is maybe a bench with a tiny little plaque on it that says Vic Henley. He made it. He's got a bench with a plaque. And I guess as long as his family pays that bill to the city of New York, he'll have that plaque for a while in Central Park. And eventually the family will not pay that bill. And then they'll probably take this is reality of life. Then they'll take a screwdriver, they'll remove Vic Henley's plaque, throw it in the garbage, and they'll put somebody else's name on the goddamn bench. But for now, it's Vic Henley's bench. And he's behind a backstop on one of the fields in the great lawn of Central Park. So if you ever find yourself in Central Park and you're near the great lawn, look for the backstops. There's a bench, and you'll see Vic Henley's plaque. So me and Stuntbrain, we sat there, I don't know, for at least an hour, just catching up and reminiscing about the old days of radio, some of the Opie and Anthony stuff, talking about Carl and Vic, talked a little politics, and just had a really, really good time. It was really, really good to see him. And then we walked over to Prohibition on the Upper West Side, where he was having his function, and we're sitting outside having a beer, and a homeless guy comes around. this homeless guy looked like he could have been an old rock star or an old movie star that went really, really bad. He actually was a really good-looking homeless guy, but he had gangrene on his leg. I mean, he was in bad shape, and he was probably on the H. And we were sitting outside on a high top, and then there were two really dirty guys right next to the sidewalk trying to have a beer. Not a hint of testosterone between these two guys. The homeless guy was giving them the business. They were scared out of their minds and didn't know what to do. They were trying to ignore the guy, and the homeless guy is like, "What you say?" And they're not even talking to the guy, and he's just intimidating them big time. And me and Mike, no offense, we were kind of laughing. And then the owner comes out, and he's trying to get involved, try to get rid of the homeless guy. And these two poor guys are scared shitless. So they take their beers and they go inside. And then the homeless guy tries to mess with me and Mike. And I just go, "What? And he's like already backing off, but he's still going strong. And then Mike starts speaking German to the guy. And then the guy's talking about being in the CIA and the FBI. And then he's telling the owner, "I'm coming by here every single day, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to just stand in front of your establishment and spit all day long." And then he was trying to intimidate us. And I'm looking at him like, "Bro, I'm not scared of you." And then Mike is just continuing with his German, and the guy's head is like, he's like all confused because I think he's thinking this usually works. In his dumb head that might be on some H, he's thinking, wait, usually when I intimidate people, they back down, but these two aren't backing down. I'm giving them the death stare, and I keep just going, what? And Mike is just speaking German really loud. And then the guy walks off, and he goes, "I'll be back." And then, long story short, he did come back, and he was met with, I believe it would be the 20th precinct here in New York City. And they're like, "Oh, we know about this guy. Oh, we get a lot of complaints about this guy." And they escorted him to one of the patrol cars and took him away.